Deep within the restless, grey expanse of the North Atlantic, where the water is cold enough to stop a heart, and the winds carry the weight of ancient sagas, the Earth is doing something impossible. Here, 30 kilometers off the southern coast of Iceland, the sea is not just a graveyard of ships, it is a womb. We are staring at a jagged, dark fortress of basalt rising from the foam, a place that did not exist 64 years ago. This is Surtsey. It is the youngest island on the planet, a pristine fragment of the world's first morning, and it is a place where no human is permitted to tread. Imagine the morning of November 14th, 1963. The crew of a fishing vessel notices a dark plume of smoke rising from the waves. They think it is a ship on fire. They are wrong. 300 feet below them, the mid-Atlantic ridge has torn open. The very blood of the Earth, molten rock at 1200 degrees Celsius, is colliding with the freezing brine. The result is a cataclysm of steam and ash, a series of explosions that sound like the world is being torn in half. For 3.5 years, the fire giant Surtsey fights the ocean. The water tries to quench the fire, but the fire is relentless. Lava flows over lava, cooling into stone, stacking higher and higher until the waves can no longer swallow it. When the smoke finally clears, a new kingdom has been born. Today, Surtsey sits in profound, eerie silence. It is a dark sanctuary of ash and craters, a stark contrast to the churning white chaos of the sea that surrounds it. From the air, it looks like a discarded cinder, a scorched thumbprint on the blue palm of the ocean. The air here is sharp, tasting of salt and the faint, lingering ghost of sulfur. There are no roads, there are no buildings, there are no footprints in the black sand. It is a biological vault, a laboratory of the gods where nature is being allowed to write its own story without a single word of human interference. The geology of this place is a paradox. It is at once incredibly violent and strangely fragile. The southern cliffs are a vertical wall of tephra and lava, constantly under siege by the North Atlantic. The waves here are not mere water, they are sledgehammers of liquid energy carving away the island's edges, trying to take back what the fire stole. Every year, Surtsey shrinks. It is a disappearing masterpiece. Yet in its center the rock is hardening. The heat from the core of the island is still there, baking the ash into palagonite tuff, a golden brown stone that resists the sea. It is a race between the cooling of the earth and the hunger of the tide, but the true miracle of Surtsey is not the fire, it is the green. To look at this black, desolate rock, you would think life would find it impossible to take hold. But life is an opportunist. It began with the wind. Tiny, invisible spores of fungi and moss traveled hundreds of miles through the freezing gales, landing in the cracks of the basalt. They found a home in the dust. Then came the sea rocket, a hardy pioneer plant whose seeds floated on the currents for weeks before washing up on the black beach. Within 2 years of the island's birth, the first green leaf unfurled against the volcanic void. It was a victory of the fragile over the monumental. Then the birds arrived. Great blackback gulls and northern fulmars began to claim the high cliffs. To them, Surtsey is not a forbidden zone, it is a fortress. They bring more than just their cries to the island. They bring the gift of life. Their droppings fertilize the sterile ash, creating a thin, precious layer of soil. Because of them, the island is transforming. What was once a lifeless cinder is now a tapestry of mosses, lichens, and even small shrubs. There are spiders here. There are earthworms, there are snow buntings nesting in the hollows of the lava. None of them were invited, yet all of them belong. Below the cliffs, the grey seals haul themselves onto the rocky shores. They lie in the spray, their dark eyes reflecting the prehistoric landscape. They are the guardians of the tide line, the only mammals to claim this territory as their own. In the waters surrounding the island, the ecosystem is just as vibrant. Kelp forests cling to the submerged volcanic boulders swaying in the dark currents, providing a nursery for fish that have never seen a hook or a net. It is a glimpse of a world that existed before the dawn of man, a place where the food chain is a perfect unbroken circle. The atmosphere on Surtsey is one of heavy, ancient tension. When you stand on the rim of the Surtsey craters, you feel the insignificance of your own timeline. The ground beneath you is younger than the shoes on your feet, yet it feels older than history itself. It is a place of absolute purity. Scientists who are granted rare permission to visit must undergo rigorous decontamination. Every seed in their pockets must be removed. Every speck of mud on their boots must be scrubbed away. Even the location of their temporary hut is carefully chosen to minimize the weight of their presence. They are ghosts, moving through a living museum, documenting the primary succession, the way life builds a world from nothing. There is a haunting beauty in the island's isolation. In the winter, the sun barely skims the horizon, casting long, bruised shadows across the craters. The snow falls, draping the black basalt in a shroud of white, turning the island into a monochromatic dreamscape. The only sound is the roar of the wind, a sound that hasn't changed since the Earth was a ball of molten rock. It is a reminder that the planet is not a static stage for human drama, but a living, breathing entity that can create and destroy with indifferent grace. Surtsey is a message in a bottle from the Earth itself. It tells us that the world does not need us to be beautiful. It tells us that life is a relentless force, a flame that can ignite even on a pile of cold ash in the middle of a frozen ocean. As the sun sets over the North Atlantic, painting the volcanic peaks in shades of violet and gold, the island stands as a dark sentinel of the deep. It is a place of beginnings and endings, a kingdom of fire that became a sanctuary of life, and a reminder that the most sacred places on earth are the ones where we have never been. The fire created it, the sea is reclaiming it, and in the brief moment between the two, life is singing a song of defiance in the silence.